the living God, and my soul it longs to be with you, to be with you. Lord, your love is like...
Hi there, social media. I am Dr. Brett Spradlin, and this is Divine Design Natural Health, and we are here for another installment, Monday night, 6 o'clock-ish. We're here for another installment of our wellness workshops, and what that, we abbreviate that into WellWorks. And so tonight we are talking about, it's going to be a little bit of an analogy. It's called Blueprint for Healing, and it's a little bit of an analogy about how your body is very similar to a house. So all you realtors, all you construction people out there, all you builders, all you contractors, everything, you're gonna hopefully understand things in a new light tonight. And those people notwithstanding, I want to introduce everybody here because we've got quite a crowd here. Facebook, everybody's going to go nuts here, and we just want to say hi to Facebook, Divine Design. Let's say hi. Woo! Oh my goodness. Whoa. You like that? How I orchestrated it right to the crisp, clean finish right there? Yeah, you like that? Well, everybody's got their name tags and their quizzes. You're working on your sugar quizzes. Okay. So we went through catalyzing statement, covered a lot of stuff before you got here, Facebook. So I just want to read you a quick little joke just to kind of take the edge off here. So I found this joke and I thought it was so perfect. It's called Construction Workers Understand. They do. And I've got a lot of friends who are construction workers. I worked in construction for a while, landscaping, all kinds of stuff. So this rings true not just to the past, but to present. 4 surgeons are discussing who makes the best type of surgery patient. The first surgeon says, I like to see accountants on my operating table. When you open them up, everything inside is numbered. Second responds, the second surgeon says, yeah, but you should try electricians. Everything inside them's color-coded. The third surgeon says, no, I like librarians the best because everything inside them's in alphabetical order. The fourth surgeon chimes in, you know, I like construction workers. They seem to understand when you have a few parts left over at the end and when the job takes longer than you said it would. I like construction workers. So that's a little bit of a quick little laugh. I figured you'd get a laugh out of that. When we get into the material here, the Blueprint for Healing, I think you'll appreciate it. So my background, just really quick, I could go into a lot of my educational background and things like that. Who cares? I was sick. I was really sick. I grew up eating Kellogg's, Corn Flakes, and Rice Krispies, and all of that. My breakfast would be Pop-Tarts and Eggo waffles, and Captain Crunch, and all kinds of stuff. Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Crisp. Is that ringing any bells? Bring back memories? I see that. Wipe right there a little bit. So I grew up, that was my breakfast, and then of course lunch at school, and then of course dinner was a 2-liter of Mountain Dew and a big bag of Doritos. It was great. And then Mom would always wonder why I wasn't hungry. So I grew up with the normal amount of allergies, whatever that is. I grew up with normal skin problems. I went to college, discovered I had a bee sting allergy, which I'd never had before, growing up outside and playing with animals and everything. I'd been stung by bees many, many times. But then I went to college. Oh yeah, if anybody's phone rings, I get to answer that puppy. Yeah. I get to reschedule your whole calendar. No, it's okay. So I went to college, and all of a sudden I realized, I have this bee sting allergy, and holy cow, 600 people a year die of bee stings. This is horrible. I have to carry an EpiPen with me everywhere I go. It was horrible. And could have been a lot worse. I shouldn't say it was horrible, but it was fear. I lived in fear of dying from a bee sting. I haven't told the story many times, and I certainly haven't told all aspects of it. But anyway, it wasn't until a long time later I went to a dermatologist because I had some skin things going on here, skin things that I treat now pretty much every day with people that walk in. I had some just dark splotchy things with skin. And I went to a dermatologist, and he gave me 3 tablets of these radioactive blue pills. I don't know what they were called, but he said, just take 1 of these every month for the next 3 months. And I thought, that doesn't sound right. 1 a month? What does that do? 1 a month, 3 little things. I thought that does not sound right. A few years later, I lived in Michigan. At the time, I went to school and grew up in Michigan, and so the weather was kind of crazy from November to practically May. It was gray, Midwest, And so every time around February, when you felt like jumping off a skyscraper, You thought, God, the winters are never going to end, the rain's never going to stop, it's never going to come ungray. And so you all of a sudden you hear this thing called, back in that time, it was a brand new diagnosis. It was a brand new name for a brand new disease, named by a brand new group of brand new people. Seasonal affective disorder. And I said, perfect, I have a name now. There's a disease, there's a diagnosis, that's all I need. So I went to the doctor and he gave me Paxil. And I took it for 1 day and I said, I'm not doing it. This is ridiculous. Then I immediately got a job working in a hospital, at which point I realized after being there for 3 years that I didn't really see too many people get better outside the emergency room setting. And then fast forward, I'll skip a bunch of details. And now here I am, I have my own practice and I'm doing all natural health and I'm a chiropractor, trained chiropractor, and we do the 4 pillars out in the front lobby there you might want to know about. The 4 pillars are chiropractic, oldest healing profession on planet Earth, dealing with the hands of another person touching. That's all it is. You've been told that it's neck pain, back pain, headache. You've been told that you should only go when you have pain. You've been told that your insurance will give you 12 visits a year. I get it, but we don't do any of that. I don't do insurance. It's not that I don't take insurance, it's that insurance doesn't take me. That's what it is. So we do chiropractic, we do laser, cold laser, which stimulates DNA. We do chiropractic, which stimulates the bigger structures that you can see. Those are 2 of the pillars. The other 2 pillars are good stuff in, bad stuff out. In other words, nutrition goes in, detoxification, bad stuff comes out. So those are the 4 pillars we're going to talk about. We're going to review a little bit of that. But I wanted to cover that with you ahead of time so it wasn't the first time you heard it when we get halfway through the story. So your body heals itself, okay? I don't do it. I just try to figure out why it's not working. So that's all it is. Your body heals itself. God created your body to be a self-healing, self-regulating. You don't have to think about breathing. You don't have to think about making neurotransmitters and hormones and all this stuff. You just go, and if something happens, you get cut, you get hurt, your body heals. You don't have to think about it. Ladies, if you ever get pregnant or have babies or breastfeeding or whatever, you don't have to think a lick about it. You don't have to plan it. You don't have to process it. You don't have to think about it. It just happens. That's a miracle, and it's not a disease. So I'm just here to help you figure out why your body may not be operating the proper way. So if I can just give you one goal to take home, my one goal is for you to take home one nugget. If you can take home one nugget from here, from a complimentary healthcare patient education workshop at a free event, I think that's more than you'll get from most medical practitioners or most healthcare practitioners today. My goal, it's not a big one, my goal is just to educate you and teach you so that you can go home and spread this the way that you got here in the first place. So the truth is going to set you free, but at first it's going to make you question your reality. At first it's going to make you a little bit angry, like, why didn't I know this? If all this stuff this kid's saying is true, why didn't somebody tell me, and why don't I know this? Why isn't this all over CNN? Why isn't this all over USA Today? So we'll talk about that. I want you to kind of engage with everything we're talking. I want you to ascertain your level of responsibility in having gotten yourself to this point. Because if you've gotten to this point with all your premiums, your deductibles, your copays, your coinsurance, your prescription costs, all that stuff, if you get to this point and you are not any better, then you must change something. Period. I mean, I think we would all recognize the fact that if we do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always got. So if you're ready to deal with that, then we're ready to move forward. So you have to understand 2 things. Every decision that you make, every purchase that you make, everything you do is either pushing you towards pleasure or away from pain. Thankfully, what we do here is both, right? Perfect, yeah. And so if you understand that there's 2 reasons people buy things, 2 reasons, only 2 reasons you will ever purchase anything in your life. It's to either save you time or to provide convenience. That's it. I want to look better, I want to think better, I want to feel better, I want to get to my place faster, I buy a better car, it'll save me time, I'll get a fast pass at the amusement park, I'll pay more to go through the line faster. It's to save time and to provide convenience. There is no other reason for anyone to purchase anything. So when you have your healthcare insurance premiums and deductibles and copays and coinsurance, which ones are those are you paying for? Think about it. It's not a correct answer or anything. I'm just saying you need to think about how we provide value over volume every single time. So think about that. Now, moving forward, I want to cover a few things here before we get into the meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes. No pun intended. I'll cover a few testimonials. Now, why do I do this? Well, because most people won't read them. And we have a whole wall of testimonials out there. We call it the wall. The wall of fame, for lack of a better term. You saw the wall, Michelle, the other day. So we have a whole wall wonderfully provided by Michaela Pilock, whose organizational brilliance we greatly appreciate. If Michaela's out there watching, we give her a shout out. She's organized the entire wall so that out there you can go and look up, oh, headaches, oh, muscle pain, oh, digestive problems. And you can look up your specific problem and then figure out, dig through folders of other people's testimonials. That's all of those are there because they once were one of these, which is testimonials that were provided by patients during visits where they say something good and we just go, great. We've had you do this. Write that down. Perfect, because we capture it. It's wonderful. We've done it, have we not? All right. So here, I'll just read through a few of these. These are all from last week. Or some of them. Most of them are from last week. I can't say all of them. I was having severe pain in my upper abdomen, under my ribs. Dr. Brett treated me, gave me supplements. I also had severe pain in my right shoulder. Within 24 hours, my shoulder pain was completely gone. Within 48 hours, all the pain was gone in my upper abdomen. Now I feel great and back to my normal activities. He was on his way to the hospital for probably what would have probably been a surgical consult or a problem of some sort. Feeling tired and sluggish. It was hard at times to focus. Now I'm feeling better than I have in years. More energy, better focus, and a better view and outlook on life. That's pretty priceless, is it not? You got a better outlook on life? Do you got a better outlook on life? Okay, good. I'm very thankful for Dr. Brett and the Divine Design team. I came to Divine Design with high blood pressure, heart palpitations, neck and back pain, digestive issues. 1 week to the day of my first visit, my family doctor put me on 4 prescription drugs. How many of you have been there? 1 week to the day, yeah. So doctor put her on 4 meds in 1 day. I couldn't do it. After researching the drugs, I discovered the side effects were worse than the high blood pressure. This is not new. If this has not happened to you, or it has not happened to someone you know, it will very soon. I'm not cursing you. I'm saying this is just the model that is happening and it does not change. After 6 days with Dr. Spradlin and his team, my neck and back pain is down by half. My heart palpitations are completely gone and all the bloating and digestive issues are almost non-existent. My blood pressure is down by 12 points naturally, and that's after 1 week. Here's another. Tired, my body felt heavy and worn out. Now, after my first adjustment, I feel lightweight, happy, and alive. I feel great. I don't think she'd ever been adjusted before. And she came alive that day. It was great. I wasn't able to do much besides walking and sitting without my knee hurting. Now I'm able to go on 2 4-mile hikes and go rock climbing last week, and my knee has been fine. If your knee hurts with every step and you can't go on a couple of 4-mile hikes, that's limiting to your mind, okay? We're going to skip this one. This one has to do with a dog. Not that the dogs are unimportant. We just don't want to attract any attention on that one. We love the dogs. Dogs and cats operate just like humans. Overall, fatigue, depression, tired of being on bioidentical hormones, not sleeping well, to name a few diseases and symptoms. How are you now? My fatigue is practically gone. This was after about 2 weeks. No depression. I've gotten off all hormone replacement therapy. Sleeping through the night sometimes, and most nights sleeping great. The supplements and eating healthy are a must. Dr. Brett's adjustments are healing. Last one. And now keep in mind, I'm not OBGYN. I'm not taking her off for HRT. I'm not a dermatologist. I'm not a gastroenterologist. How do you fix all this stuff? You study health and not disease. You study health and not disease. I didn't spend all my time in school studying all these diseases. I spent all my time in school studying health and how to make you guys better. Here's another. I had severe acne and acne scars since I was 12 years old. So 10 plus years, I've tried birth control pills, acne tame, unbelievable the names, chemical peels, which cost a fortune, she says, monthly trips to a dermatologist, and major work done by estheticians, and I still suffered as it never got better. For the first time in 6 years, I left my house with no powder on my face. It was so surreal. I couldn't believe that. Yeah. So my face is more clear than I have ever seen it, and my scars are even going away. What? She says. I have confidence again, and I didn't realize this program would even help with my face. I'm so grateful. So ladies, do you think you might start looking younger? Anti-aging? You think you might get better? You think your hair, skin, and nails might start looking a little different? Not that they need to. Not that they need to. I didn't say any of that. But we just read you those so that you can kind of get a picture for this is going to change not just you, but your kids and your grandkids and your friends and your family and your husband and everybody else around you. When your friends at work say, hey, your hair looks better. Did you get it colored? Nope. Hey, your skin looks better. All right, what are you wearing? Nothing. This is what happens. Hey, your lose is going to have a nutritional deficiency component to it, and it's also going to have an organ dysfunction component to it. So nutritional deficiency, organ dysfunction, put the disease here. Somehow you are going to have a problem with organ dysfunction, and you are going to have a problem with nutritional deficiency. One being causing the other, or one causing the other. You get kicked in the spleen, and you are going to have a deficiency in red blood cells. If you have a nutritional deficiency of fats, you are going to have an organ dysfunction of your ovaries, your brain, and your nerves. It's just mathematical. I don't have to spend my whole life learning about your specific disease that only 2 dudes in the whole head. It's not genetics. It's not because your mom had the same problem. It's because you and your mom likely ate the same food, lived in the same house, breathed the same air. You know, that's more of a connection than your genetics. Less than 5%, you ought to go back and watch some of my old classes, less than 5% of all of the cancers that are out there, even less than that, that's a big number. Less than 5% are genetically even related. So just get that out of your mind. When you're told that it's a genetic death sentence, that's not true, okay? So I just want to, let's look at that sugar quiz real quick. So you don't have to tell me your scores or anything, but if you have falses that are over 4, how many of you have falses? How many falses over 4? Okay, so you need a little help. It's not saying you're an addict. It's saying you're on your way to being an addict. Just kidding. So we just have to admit that our current health problems is a reflection of past habits, just like what we talked about a little while ago. If we always do what we've always done, we'll always get what we've always had before. So we have to change things. So you have to ask yourself these questions. How is it affecting people experience when they finally have that, oh, I've got polyps, or oh, I've got stage 4, what do I do? You have to admit right now, ahead of time, that we have to change a few habits. How's it affecting you? Yourself, your family, your work, your social life, we just talked about that. Is it going to get worse or is it going to get better? If you continue doing what you're doing, the likelihood of it getting worse or better, which one? Likelihood, if you continue doing what you're doing, will it get worse or better? Worse. That's what nobody tells you. Go to the doctor. Well, I've got a lump on my breast. Oh, well, here. Does that hurt? No. Does that hurt? No. Well, okay. Let's do mammogram. Okay. Well, it looks okay. Well, let's just wait and say it louder. Let's just wait and see. What does that mean? It's going to get better or it's going to get worse? It's going to get worse. See the mentality that you've been handed. This is so asinine, and I'll call it what it is. It's insanity, is what it is. It's all it is. So instead of asking that, instead of saying, well, it might get better, it might get worse, you need to admit and you need to say, okay, I need to change this. I don't care what the mammogram says. I don't care if he says, let's wait and see. How about if I figure out, what is swelling up in my breast? Could it be a lymph node? Chances are it is. How do you drain lymph nodes? Well, what do lymph nodes do? Well, they store toxins and waste, and when they get plugged up, then they get swollen and tender, and they can't push the stuff out. So maybe it's a swollen lymph node. I wonder if massage, or I wonder if there's some techniques. I wonder if there's some supplements, or I wonder if there's, percussion or laser or something. I wonder if there's detox. Does anybody around Cleveland have an infrared sauna? Does anybody do infrared ionic detoxification, foot spas? I wonder. You have to look at this stuff. But if you don't know that some of these things exist, you're going to go mammogram route and you're going to go mastectomy route, right? You have to ask yourself this next question. What's your commitment to get better? See, if some people's commitments are 1, 2, and 3, we ask them all these questions, by the way, when they get started. If their commitment is not a 9 or a 10, I say you're in the wrong spot. If it's a 1, 2, or a 3, you're not really committed, well, you're not going to want to pay for it because your insurance premiums, you're already milked dry from your insurance premiums, which gives you access to a system of drugs and surgery, which you don't want. You go home and you throw out the prescription, so that was a good premium, right? I hear it all day long. I threw out the prescriptions. Why'd you pay the premium? What are you going to do now? I'm not making fun of people. I'm just saying you have to think, if you're doing the same thing now, in 5 years, are you going to want to take the prescription? The answer is yes, if the pain is bad enough. Yep, you'll take it if the pain's bad enough. But what could you have done 5 years prior to that? Knowing something like this. So if their need to change is not there, or if their commitment level is not there, if it's not a 9 or a 10, we need to have a talk. I'm not saying that I won't help you, but I'm saying, what's your commitment level? Are you ready to change? Well, I'm a 7. Okay, well, why are you a 7? Why aren't you a 10? Well, I don't know. I just don't know what this entails. I have no idea I don't even know. You haven't even given me a tour of the office yet. Oh, well, all right, let's get that out of the way. Now, are you a 10 now? Now I'm a 10. I didn't know this existed. Problem solved, right? But if it's just a 9 or a 10, well, I'm a 7 or an 8. Well, why is that? You're not committed. Well, I don't know. My husband doesn't believe in natural health. He likes drugs. Okay, we have a problem. We have a big problem. Because I'm not doing this with your husband. Don't care. How do we solve it? Get him in here. That's how we solve it. If he loves you, he wants you to live, right? Right? Hopefully. Sometimes. It's not always the case, though. Not always the case. The husband would pay for the wife to go get a double mastectomy, but he wouldn't pay for whole food nutrition and for detox. I've seen it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Husbands out there, you should be ashamed of yourselves. So those questions, those commitments, if you answer those questions, you say, yes, I'm committed, then there's hope, and we are here. There's absolute. So you have to understand this. Let's just review all that stuff. No one goes to a doctor because of the pain. They go because of what the dysfunction prevents them from doing. You do not go to a doctor for pain. Get it out of your mind. You do not come to me for neck pain, back pain, headaches. Get it out of your mind. You go because you can't pick up your grandkids. You go because you can't go to work. You can't hold down your job. Somebody's passing you up for a promotion. You can't hop on a plane without having explosive diarrhea. You go because you want to take the kids to Disney, but you can't sit in a car for 12 hours. You go because you come to us because you want to take that cruise, but you're afraid of being so far away without your medical alert badge or whatever. You do not go to a doctor because of pain. You go because of what the dysfunction or the pain, I say dysfunction because a lot of diseases don't cause pain. You go to a doctor because of what the disease or the dysfunction or the pain prevents you from doing, okay? Here in America, we're giving our whole entire culture, we're calling it healthcare, but it's really sick care. It's really disease management. So if you give a sick society something called healthcare, and then you expect them to get better, we don't have a healthcare crisis. We have a sick care management crisis. We have a premium, tens of thousands of dollars of premiums going in the trash can. You might have saved a couple grand getting the x-ray because you had the premium, but then you paid the deductible. So for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year, shoot, we could treat you for a quarter of that, and you'd actually have products and services that would rebuild your body instead of killing you slowly. How nice would that be? So I had a friend, I'll just tell a quick story. I always like to tell this story once I learned this. Had a dog, he took the dog in. Dog was doing perfectly fine. Vet took the blood lab and came back and said, your dog has kidney failure. My friend said, well, that's weird because I never saw any behavior change. And it hit me. I thought, most people have no idea that their organs are deteriorating within their very bodies. Their behavior doesn't change until all of a sudden you wake up and you go outside and you just, you hear the stories. He was perfectly fine and then he fell over dead. A marathon runner. He was perfectly healthy and then he just fell over dead one day. Stage 4 polyps just blew out of his nose. What? He wasn't healthy the day before, was he? Thought he was, because his behavior had not changed, right? He didn't feel, in other words, something. But I'll draw out a little diagram for you here. Very, very, very important. Get this. Medicine is banking on you not getting this. Your health tank. Good, bad, empty, full, whatever we want to call this. Boop. So at the 70% mark, we call this the threshold right here. Right here. So this is your gas gauge, okay? Good/full, you're empty over here. You're trucking along, 10, 15 years old, man, your cells are turning over at the high rate of speed. You're going light speed. Then you get 20, 30, 40, whatever. Have a couple kids, whatever. You get a couple surgeries. You fall, you break something. Your joints kind of start whatever. And you're not paying attention to getting healthy. And as time goes on, you get to this threshold where all of a sudden your tissue breakdown and your level of pain threshold all of a sudden is crossed at the 70 or 80% mark. In other words, what I'm saying, this is a big analogy, for by the time you get to 70 or 80%, you don't feel the pain, you don't feel the dysfunction, you don't feel the disease until you get almost 70 or 80% compromised. Does everybody get that? So these right here is what we would call symptoms. And when you get down to this level here, we call this, what I call this is just us, the land of intolerable symptoms, right here. This is where you come in to us. Because at this point, you've already had the drugs, you've already had the surgeries because you're approaching this. Then it gets bad here. Now you're getting the x-rays and the CAT scans and the MRIs and all this other stuff, all this imaging. You're going to the specialists and you're going to Vanderbilt and you're doing this and that and that. And then you're at this land of intolerable symptoms, and then there's nothing else. It's like, well, we've already cut out your intestines. We've already taken your gallbladder. We've already taken your appendix. That's when people walk in here. Sometimes. Unless they're sitting in your seats right now, or they knew somebody who sat in your seats, or they were at a doctor 20, 30 years ago that did some of this stuff, and they go, wait. I know this guy. They usually don't have signs. They sure don't advertise. They're all word of mouth. They're friends and family. And that's when we get a hold of them, unless we can land them in here. We can get them in the prevention and maintenance phase, and we can go, hey, you don't have to have this. But people go, well, I don't know, my premiums and deductibles and copay, my insurance. How much do you pay for your health care? I ask, it's right on their intake form, okay? All the time. How much, I ask this question, it's unbelievable. I ask this question all the time. It's right on the paperwork that's filled out before I ever meet the person. And it'll say, including premiums, deductibles, copays, coinsurance, prescription costs, everything else, how much have your health problems cost you? And they will always, I only give them 3 choices. Oops. Less than 1K, 5 to 10K, or greater than 10K. Which one do they always circle? Always. Huh? Are you sure? You get it? I've never shown this on film before. I've never shown this before. That one right there. I only give them 3 choices so as not to complicate it. But 90% of the time, I'm telling you, ask the girls. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. There's 3 options there. And you would think this one. But say it again. But they have to think, but it says, how much has your health care cost you? They say, well, my insurance pays for all of it. So, huh? Right. Right. What? I saw you, that stink eye. Like, what? How could people think that? I'm not kidding. Right here. Every single time. And I say, well, no. Go back and reread. Or I'll have the girls do it. Go back and reread. Premiums, deductibles, copays, coinsurance, prescription costs, whole 9 yards. Drive time, hotels at Vanderbilt, Johns Hopkins, Mayo, all of it. Add it up. You moved halfway across the country when your kid was 10 to be closer to the oncologist. Add that in there. Seriously, let's have a talk, because you are not committed. You are not adding up. You're not doing the math yet. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to get it real to them, get it across to them where they go. So when we put a price tag in front of them, they go, oh, huh. I had somebody just recently, one of those testimonials. We did part 2, phase 2 of her care plan. And she took one look at it, which part 2 is always a third of the price of part 1. Just because they're better, they're eating better, their supplements are coming down. I see them less. It starts out and goes down. Medicine does this. Money over time goes like this. Right? That's medicine. Us, over time, natural health, start right in here and go. Does that make sense, or does that make sense? That makes sense, doesn't it? Here it starts out free. Oh, you got free healthcare. Oh, premiums, deductibles, copays. Then you got a specialist appointment, and then a CAT scan, then an MRI, and then a massive life-changing routine procedure. That's what happens. So, but all the time, people circle this one because they have no concept, they have no reality on the fact that they're paying for the premiums and deductibles, copays. What did they think that question was? What did they think that that question said? What did they read? And that will tell you the darkness that is enveloping the vision of people. What did they think that question meant? I'll tell you what they think it meant, what they think it said. What were your out-of-pocket costs? That's what it was. Oh, yeah. See? But this says right there in the question. It's like a 3-line question. So you have to know that you must be doing something to move toward wellness, right? Move towards wellness. Going this way. You have to do something to move towards wellness, or you are by default moving towards what? Sickness, illness. Right. We take that wellness, we take the I out of illness and put a we in there for wellness. Ooh, I like that. Write that down. Right? So you have to move. Think of people you know who are seemingly fine, and then they just experience like a massive emergency. So now think of the people that you know that are on the drugs, they're on the metformin, they're on the Synthroid, they're on all the fibromyalgia drugs, they're on all the irritable bowel drugs, they're on laxatives for constipation, but nobody's changing their diet. How many of them are on Maalox, Mylanta, and all this crap? Poisoning them. Had somebody today, woman with a child, 12, 13 years old. The kid was on Pediasure for years, 13 pediatric specialists. The kid had 13 pediatric specialists. Came in with her daughter on day 1. Said, let me see your food log. The first thing we did on day 1 was, do you know what Pediasure is? Anyone in this room know what Pediasure is? What is Pediasure?
So you usually give it to your newborn. Is that powder?
Powder or liquid, can be. Oh yeah. Hold on. Sorry, can you grab, hold on. Hannah, please. So Pediasure, powder or liquid, sorry, I had to step up. Powder or liquid, and it's synthetic nutrients, and it's, can we get Facebook and microphone and computer and all that? Oh, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, when I had it, it was for your newborn.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know if it does more whatever now, but it was years ago.
Yeah. So what is it?
It's nutrition for a newborn.
Okay, but yeah, do you know what's in it?
No.
Nutrition for a newborn. What's nutrition for a newborn supposed to be? Come on, women. Say it. Yeah, right. Nutrition for a newborn. It's synthetic nutrients and sugar. It's synthetic nutrients. It's the same thing as Ensure, which is what they give to the cancer patients, but it's Pediasure, so it's better for the kids, right? Do we not have the food or the Facebook going?
There's no question.
Okay. So just here, give me that up here, and I'll just pass it around. Can you be in? Can you be in here?
I think, well,
Okay. Okay. So you just have to think of people who need to be here and get them here, because you have to think of people who do not know this information. So the Pediasure, with first day she came in, we changed the food. She said, none of my specialists have told me this. I said, I know, it's okay. We got her on a whole food packaged enteral feeding tube for her daughter, changed her whole life. She came off almost every one of her meds. She's been going to 13 pediatric specialists for what, 12 years? Going all around this country, hauling that kid in the van with the chair, not knowing that she's feeding her kid sugar and synthetic crap. Nobody told her. One day, that was the very first day. We talked about it today. Blew my mind, blew her mind. So lack of pain does not mean the presence of health. Many diseases do not cause pain. Diabetes does not cause pain. Depression does not cause pain. People say, well, I'm fine, I'm fine. You have deteriorating organs in your body that need to regenerate, and you have not regenerated them. Okay? If you took a pill to not feel pain and then broke your ankle, you burnt your hand, you shut your foot in the door, would you, let me just say this. If I were to give you a pill that took away all your pain, would you do it? Anybody? You would? So then you lean against a hot stove, your hand burns off. You fall down the stairs, you break your ankle, you wouldn't feel it. So is pain your enemy or is pain your friend? It's your friend. It's very much your friend. All right. Very much your friend. Well, you don't like it, but it'd be a... So to get in the presentation, just real quick, temples. I won't get into the whole thing I was going to get into here, but well, I'll just read this. I'll read this little thing. According to 1 Corinthians, our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, right? So temples are not objects to be worshipped, but they must be kept in good condition so that we can use them for worship, right? Practically speaking, it's through the vehicle of our bodies that we experience and come to understand God's love. It's also the instrument we use to serve other people. So therefore, to the best of our abilities, we're to take care of and honor our bodies. Getting adequate rest, nutrition, and exercise can be forms of worship to God. How many of you have ever heard that? Have you? Oftentimes from the pulpits, I hear pray for sister so-and-so, she's got stage 4, or pray for brother so-and-so, his liver enzymes are not doing well, and he's going to see his oncologist in the morning. And that saddens me because if people just knew, particularly if the body knew what the body needed, the body would not be going outside the body to get stuff for the body. What do I mean by that? The 4 pillars we already talked about: chiropractic, laser, nutrition, detoxification. Okay, I'm going to go through the foundational building blocks of your body and explain some of these things, an analogy of some of these things. Your basic building materials are cells, okay? Basic building materials are cells. And within the cells, there are all of these organelles. There are all these little tools. There are all of these little packages that do many, many, many jobs. But if you were to look at the foundation of a house, the most expensive part to make, the most expensive part to build, it's got to be sunk into the ground. It's the piece that everything else is built upon. I think a good analogy in the human body would be cells. And within those cells are DNA, which is this strand from dad, strand from mom, alpha double helix, like this. And that DNA codes for all the protein that will make eventually the hair, skin, nails, and everything else. Okay? So the cells, the foundation of your body, with the DNA being the genetic material within your cells being the blueprint for everything, the blueprint for healing, right? So not every cell in your body is the same. There's about 200 different types of cells in your body, and they all deteriorate or grow or replicate themselves at different rates. For instance, like your eyeball, or let's say like the lining of your lung, the lining of your stomach. Those cells that have a lot of activity and need to turn over quickly, they turn over a lot more quickly. So they'll last 2, 3, 4 days. You know, your eyeball heals up real fast. See, your body knows that you need sight. So you cut your eye and put a patch over it for 24 hours, boom, you're back to normal, right? How many of you have done that? Something like that. Scars and things like that will take a while. Bones can take 10 years. Bones can take 6 to 8 weeks to heal up, weight-bearing bone, but your bone doesn't really go completely regenerate until about the 7 to 10 year mark. You've heard the whole thing, your body is brand new every 7 years. Depends on who you look at, who you listen to. Depends on the age of the person too. So 5 to 7 or 7 to 15, you'll hear different ranges depending upon who you listen to. But just know that every cell in your body has different healing capacities and different rates of turnover. Your hemoglobin A1C that everybody's all the rage about, the reason that they're looking at that is because they know that a lot of people can kind of bypass the fasting blood sugar rate for the fasting blood sugar numbers for diabetes. So they'll do hemoglobin A1C and look at your blood cells for the last 90 days. You can look at your hemoglobin A1C, and that will tell you how much sugar you had in the last 90 days. So it's not just your fasting blood sugar. So when somebody says, oh, my hemoglobin A1C was 8.9, now it's 6.3, that means their blood sugar went way down over the course of the first time they checked to the second time. So there's different rates of turnover. For instance, your red blood cells will last about 90 to 120 days, 3 to 4 months. So why do you think our first phase of care is 90 days, 12 weeks? I know something that your other doctors don't know. Within those first 3 months, we're replacing almost all of your blood. Therefore, if we replace all of your blood, how many of your drugs are you going to need? It's going to be totally different blood. Nobody's telling you this. So just a couple things to keep in mind. All your radiation, all your chemicals, all your cosmetics, all your cleaning supplies, all of your chemotherapy, all of your drugs, your aging, deterioration and things like that. That destroys your DNA. Destruction of DNA can also be called what? Or mutation of DNA can also be called what? Radiation, chemicals, what do those things cause in human bodies? Or animals, what do those things cause? If you go through a radiation machine over and over and over again, what will be growing off of you? Tumors, cancer, yes, thank you. Radiation, chemicals, all the other things that cause DNA, irreparable DNA damage, when you destroy DNA, when you mess up DNA, you're increasing your chances of cancer. 200 different types of cells, they die and replace regularly. Your stomach, your intestines, we talked about all those skin cells. They shed regularly because they're in high friction. You're rubbing against things. There's bacterial and pathogenic things that they're fighting all the time. So your skin cells slough off. Bone cells, talked about all that. Heart muscle cells, they do about 1% per year. So if you have a valve problem or prolapse or a murmur or a regurgitation or something like that, can that be fixed without surgery? Are you in the sun, darling? Is that blinding you? Are you sure?
It feels good.
If you scooted like 2 feet that way, you'd be fine. So some cells never replace. For instance, like female eggs, let's not get started talking about 5G quite yet. That's for another class later on this summer. We'll talk about all that. Yeah, tooth enamel, female eggs, cerebral cortex, all that. So what I want to put the nail in the coffin on this one with is your DNA, your epigenetics. How many of you have heard me talk about epigenetics? Epigenetics is a field of science, been around about 30, 40 years, and what it's showing is not all your cancer is genetic. Guess what? All of your cancer, all of your diseases are influenced by two things: epigenetics. Epi meaning on, genetics. I love to talk about this because nobody knows about it. But they don't know that your epigenetics is the influence of your genetics through two things: your environment and your food. So if you're living in a high radiation, high chemical environment, that's going to hit your genetics. If you're living in a very good food environment and you're eating good food, that's going to change your genetics. You can change your genetics. Not so much change the hardwire, but change what is expressed. If it's good things being expressed in your genetics, or if it's bad things being expressed in your genetics, you decide, right? So, so the solution to this, what's the solution? This is the first part. There's a 4-part analogy here. The first part, the foundation. What's the solution? Nutrition. That is the solution to that, because the cells at the cellular level, your cells are replacing. What's the main summary of all this? Your body is replacing its cells every day, or else you would die, right? Everybody agrees with that? So then if your cells are dying, then why aren't you dead? They're replicating. What are they using to replicate? What are the cells using as the raw materials, the building blocks, the foundation? What are the cells using? What's your body using to regenerate all of those tissues? Anybody?
Nutrition.
Huh?
Your food.
Your food. Plants and animals. So when I was a kid, pounding a 2-liter of Mountain Dew and a bag of Doritos, was I making good choices? Was I stimulating? Why was I sick all the time? I was eating crap. But if I was eating good, heavy-duty plants and animals the way that God intended, being pulled from the dirt like the plants and animals, right? Read Genesis. If you knew that you were going to be, right? So obvious. God, 4.6 billion years of evolution. Oh my goodness, right? So if you knew that the only way to fix the body was to use the other things, the plants and animals that the body was comparable to, then I wouldn't have been eating, Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew, because I would have understood. My body will die if I don't use the right raw materials. That's it. That's it. That's why you have McDonald's and Starbucks in the lobby of every hospital. That's why you have vending machines. Am I right or am I right? Am I right? I usually am. Number 2. That is a good answer, Danielle. It's annoying, but it's a good answer. That's right. Number 2. So if your body's a house, what's the framing of it? What's the ceiling, the doors, the windows, the floors, the roofing, the fence around the backyard where the dog poops? What is all the framing? What is all of the hard wire, the hard windows, doors, all the siding, the roofing, all of that? That's your protein. That's your eyes, your muscles, right? Your hair, your skin, your nails. See, because all of this eventually codes for all the proteins that become hair, skin, and nails. Everything your DNA codes for is all these neurotransmitters, hormones, proteins, enzymes. All of those things are proteins that allow your body to function, okay? So the framing, look at that. It's all the protein stuff, right? The eyes, the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, the bone, all made out of protein. So if all of the framing is made out of protein and you can only eat carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are the only thing a human being can eat and digest, right? If you only have 3 enzymes to digest those 3 things, and you eat way more sugar than these other 2 things, that's why we did the sugar quiz, by the way, most destructive substance on the planet, killing more people than all medical drugs combined and illicit street drugs combined and wars, combining all of it. Sugar, subsidized in your country. Okay, so if you just eat carbs, way exorbitant amount of carbs, are you going to have enough protein and fat to build the frame for your house? No, you're not. That's why it's subsidized. That's why it's in Gatorade. That's why it's in the Doritos. That's why it's in the Frito-Lay, the Little Debbie. That's why it's in all of the Mountain Dew, Pepsi, Coke, right? So too much carbohydrate means that you have less integrity in the structures that are made of fat and protein, because your body is made of this one and this one, not this one. That is nutrition 101 that you will never hear, along with the whole your body's dying, so you have to replace it with the stuff you eat. You'll never hear that. Right here is probably the most important nutrition stuff you'll ever hear in your entire life. I said it. Mark it down on your calendar. Mark it down on your calendar. Okay, so so another good analogy is if you're framing, if we use duct tape and, cardboard to build your body, how long do you think your body's going to last? That's the standard American diet. Standard American diet. Duct tape and cardboard. And people are thinking, well, why is my shoulder killing me? Oh, I've had that. I hear this all day. Got a high school football injury from 45 years ago. Well, guess what? You shouldn't be there. If it healed, right? If it had the right stuff, your body would have healed that 45 years ago. Think about it. So look at standard American diet. If you can only digest 3 things, and one of them happens to be, you don't eat much of this because you were scared about fat back from 1982, right? And CNN said eating red meat's going to kill you, and fish has mercury in it. So what's everybody going to eat? Carbs, bagels, and the vegetarians are going to run the world. Right? So if we use duct tape and cardboard, what should we be using to build a house? Maybe some drywall and some 2x4s? And we're wondering why everybody's house, their temple, their body, the sickest society on planet Earth. But we've got every fast food joint, we've got every vaccine, every surgery, every imaging procedure, every drug known to man. Why is America? Why am I teaching a class in 4 weeks about your kids dying faster than you? It's because of this. Nobody's telling you. Third, oh, the solution. How do we fix this one? What's the solution? I got one. Solution. Chiro, right? You stimulate those structures. Oldest healing profession on planet Earth. The Egyptians were doing this stuff, people. Chinese knew this 6,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, right? So you're just using the hands of another person to put energy into your body that you can't do. It's that simple. It's not popping, cracking, snapping, clicking, none of that crap. Get it out of your mind. Headache, neck pain, back pain, it's way beyond that. First adjustment, restored hearing. Never heard that, did you? First adjustment, restored hearing. Check that out. So number 3, electrical. So we already had foundation of your house, right? The foundation, the most expensive part. The framing. Then we've got the electrical, right? What's the electrical stuff? Wiring, lighting. Think about all the stuff in your house. So in your body, what would that be? Nerves, fat, right? You'd have the nerves sending a signal from point A to point B, just like your light. You know, you'd pull in the driveway and your security camera would flip on and your lights and your kitchen, your fridge would order your cereal for the morning. I'm just kidding. It's ridiculous what's happening in houses these days. So electrical, you've got your lights and your wiring, right? Your harnesses and all the stuff. Nerves and fat. So what would that mean? What would be the analogy? It would be hormones, signals, nerves and fat. Oh, but once again, don't say fat. Fat's a dirty word. Fat makes you fat. No, it doesn't. Hormones, signals, all the stuff that your body makes to get a message from point A to point B. All the stuff from your brain, all the hormones from your thyroid, your ovaries, your testicles, your adrenals, all of your thalamus, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, your everything, all of these glands in your body, your parathyroids that are making these hormones and sending them to other areas that are far away. That's a slower response. That's a hormone response. Nerves are an instant response, right? So if the low-fat diet shuts down your supply chain of fat and you can't make egg cells, what is that going to... You can't make estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. You can't make any sex hormones. What is that going to do to your fertility? It's going to make it so you can't make any more electrical, isn't it? Decreased fertility. Then you're going to have, I saw the other day, first time in my life, first time I've ever seen it, a whole entire clinic. I could not believe it. Low T clinic. I could not believe it. First time I'd ever seen it in Chattanooga. Yeah, blew my mind. So what's the solution to this? How do you turn on the nerves? The solution? Laser. And laser goes back to the beginning because this right here is a wavelength from right here to right here. That right there, that wavelength, that goes back to the beginning when we were talking about the foundation, the genetics. That wavelength right there is the wavelength of the lasers that we use. It's the same wavelength as your DNA. So that's how the lasers work, actually. But the laser will stimulate the nerves. The laser will decrease your healing time. The laser will stimulate your body, your DNA, to make those proteins to heal your cells. Last but not least, HVAC, plumbing and piping. Okay? I'm going to erase this one so I can stand up and not have to bend down here. Number 4, HVAC. It's interesting because I'm getting a new air conditioner installed today. Oh, this is perfect timing for this message. This is great. So the heating, the ventilation, and the air conditioning. So basically, this is all just getting, how would you equate this? What would this be equivocable to? This would be all of your good stuff in, bad stuff out, would it not be? This would be all of your air, all of your food, air, water going in and out of your body, right? Food, air, water. So this would be all your organs, right? Food, small intestine, large intestine, air, lungs, and water, kidneys, right? So all of your organs of detoxification. All your airways, all your transport, all your lungs, your detox organs, all your blood, garbage in, garbage out. It's all powered by electricity. It's all powered by the nervous system. It's all powered by the nerves, right? But if you get increased concentrations of chemicals eventually built up that can't exit the body, you're going to have that lymph node swollen. You're going to have that constipation. Haven't gone to the bathroom more than twice a week since 1962. We've had those cases. Well, he was 60-something. He was 70 years old, but he went twice a week. Thought it was normal. Nobody told him. 21 meals, 2 trips to the bathroom, didn't do the math. I showed him. So the solution here would be, still blows my mind, the solution here would be detoxification. All right? How do you fix all these things? That first one, the foundation, that's nutrition. Foundation. Here, I'll draw it all out again. Foundation. Foundation. How do you fix it? Nutrition. And why is it the foundation, nutrition? Because if you have a bad foundation, everything else, nothing else matters, right? That was number 1. Number 2. Number 3 was electrical. Number 4 was HVAC. This was framing. So the solution is Kyra. The electrical, and the solution over here was detox. And right here, laser. Oh, look at that. It just so happens that we do all of this right here because that is those are the 4 pillars that you passed on the way out here. This is good stuff in, bad stuff out. Big structures, small structures. That's why we get results like this every day of every week of every month for 4 years. That's what we've done. That's what we did. So here's a real quick review, and then we're done. Why do American buildings fail? We have the sickest society on earth, despite every drug, surgery, vaccine, imaging procedure on the planet. So why do the buildings fail? Point 1. Each person has different damage to their bodies, to their homes. So the medicine cannot work outside of an emergency situation. What do you mean by that? Well, the medicine will not heal their body. Why are the bodies falling apart? Why are the buildings failing? Why is our infrastructure falling apart? Everybody has a different damage to their home. Your headache medicine will not work for this person's headache medicine because, well, you're 20 years different. They've got kids. You don't. They've got a different job. They've got a different diet, different lifestyle. You're around all kinds of pathogens and stuff. You work in a hospital. You don't work in a hospital. You just work around a bunch of people you hate in an office, the cubicle, over the cubicle, So you all have different amounts of stress. There's no protocol for your headache and your headache. There's no protocol. There's no magic bullet for that. So medicine cannot work, okay? So each person has different damage. The individuality of people. They have a different background. They have different genetics. They have different diets. See, you never take that into consideration. They never take that into consideration. So medicine cannot work outside of emergency applications for these people. So the fire department is like the rescuers. They just, they come in, they destroy. You go to the emergency room, it's the fire department. It's just turn on the water, hose everything down, break down the doors, break down the windows. And the carpenters are standing right outside going, when can we get in there to help? Well, everything's been torn down. I wish we could have rebuilt some stuff before we torched the place, right? That would have been nice. Maybe saved you a surgery, maybe saved you a bunch of premiums, maybe saved you on your home insurance, right? But the individuality of all of it is so different. You cannot say that this person's heart attack and this person's heart attack were even the same problem, okay? What if this person was on 12 drugs and this person was on 4? Many are, right? So the fire department destroys everything indiscriminately, right? But the carpenters are often left standing outside ready to help. But if you go, and somebody brought me some paperwork just the other day. I was going to make copies of it. And I thought, wow, this says it all right here. And I get these all the time. I have more of them. But chemo centers, hospitals, surgical centers, all these places say on the paperwork, and you've seen this, you've all seen it. On the paperwork, it says, you have to keep taking all of your drugs, but discontinue any vitamins or herbs. So that goes right into the individuality of your healthcare plan. Do you believe that you didn't pay a dime for your health insurance? Or do you believe that you actually added it all up and you came to a real estimate, right? And we already talked about insure. So the insure is giving the right materials or the wrong materials? Insure. Good materials or bad materials to rebuild? Bad. Yep. So number 2, why is it all falling apart? You cannot overdose on food. Misunderstanding and miseducation about how important food is. Yeah, I'm not standing up here trying to be, Mr. Avocado. I'm just trying to tell you it's incredible how much you are not told about the food that you should eat. And if you watch TV and read the papers, you will never know the truth. I promise you. Healthcare and hospitals do not teach about food and give very little significance to vitamins, minerals, and macromolecules. It's garbage in, garbage out. Cells regenerate, your body's living, a house is not. Living organisms cannot reproduce, they cannot replicate with dead chemicals. I repeat, the lisinopril is not keeping you alive. Atorvastatin is not keeping you alive. Get over it. You've been lied to, deal with it. Get over it. The drugs are not keeping you alive. Insulin, what about insulin? How about we control your blood sugar? How do you control your blood sugar? Control the food that you eat. Instead of pumping you full of insulin. God, think about that. Honestly. We'll even talk about type 1 if you want. I'd love to go there. Not on camera. Not at all. Number 3. Not yet. But we don't need you, Facebook. We don't need you, Google. I don't mean to sound cocky. I just mean to sound confident. That's a big difference. So depending upon the systems involved, different bodies require different renovation times. Like I said, we start with 12 visits. That would be 3 months, 3 to 4 months, depending on certain people. And then we do a progress report to reevaluate. But usually, we're starting out at, hey, I don't touch people for like 6, 9 months, You have to be on board. You have to understand this is not a one-trick pony. This is not an overnight thing. Are you going to feel better tomorrow? Guaranteed. Are you going to feel better 6 months from now? Guaranteed. How long you stick in it will determine how you feel for the rest of your life. Because you've spent 30, 40, 50 years not regenerating any of your organs except by chance. How about if you do it on purpose now? The stuff we use, we can rebuild your organs, we can rebuild your lungs, your kidneys, your thymus, your pancreas. So number 3 is maintenance and prevention is lifelong. Individuality, there's misunderstanding, there's not understanding that you have to be in the health thing for the long haul. You can't just live your life willy-nilly for 50 years and all of a sudden get better in 2 days. Ain't gonna happen. No doctor, surgeon, drug is gonna make that happen. But can we make you change a little bit of your diet and all of a sudden you come out of a cloud? Absolutely, okay? We avoid emergencies instead of reacting to them. We avoid them. Why would you wanna react? Why wouldn't you wanna create? Why wouldn't you wanna move out of the way, right? Number 4, last thing, okay? If we're decreasing cholesterol and we're harming your body's regrowth, if we're influxing into your body pharmaceutical toxins and poisons that do not belong there, we are not only impeding your body's ability to grow, we're giving your body more work to do. How stupid is that? How stupid is that? So number 4, this is complicating healing rather than assisting it. So the reasons people's bodies are falling apart, they don't understand the individuality of their specific deals. There's a misunderstanding about food. They do not understand that it has to be a lifelong thing and that you don't have to have started back when you were 5 eating raw eggs and cilantro from the field. I didn't, but can we, don't laugh at me. Can we fix it? Can we change it? Can you be healthier 5 years from now than you were 5 years ago? Guaranteed. You just have to want to believe it. And then lastly, we're allowing people to complicate matters for us. So that is the whole presentation there. Now, how do we fix all that? Well, NRT, nutrition response testing. We talked about that, okay? And there is a way to fix, well, should I demonstrate? I can demonstrate. Can you grab, I don't have any way to communicate with. Yes, can you please grab Hannah, pretty please? So we'll do a little screening demonstration just so you can kind of see. We find organs. We find the order in which they need to go. We figure out what organs. We figure out what order in which they need to go. Do we need to fix your heart first, your lungs next, your kidneys, or do we need to start with your kidneys? Then we figure out what products to use. We figure out right down to the capsule and the tablet. I can demonstrate that real quick. She just needs to grab. I'll use you as a guinea pig, if you don't mind. Is that okay? Cool. I just want the little the little satchels. So, so we're just finding nutritional supplements exactly right for the person. Yeah, have a seat right there. Is she grabbing stuff? Huh? Okay. I just need the packets, the sugars. So there's no magic recipe, no one size fits all. There's no protocol. This is not functional medicine. This is a step above. So there is no protocol. There is no thing that works for every single person. Are there things that can help people? Absolutely. Thank you. I'll just use Danielle if you need to be up front. Come on over here. Okay, cool. And stand here for me. So Danielle is a patient, has been a patient, will always be past, present, future. Oh, and stand right here so I don't have to move too far away. So what we do is we're using reflexes. So I know we have patients here who already get this, but we also, we do this to review so that people, you'd never believe how many people go, wait a minute, that's how it works? Well, yeah, you've been doing this for a while now, yeah. So we do this to review with current patients, but we also do it to show people who don't have any idea, okay? So we do this exactly standing up the same way we do it laying down. We always do it laying down. So I'm just going to get a good solid response out of a muscle. You go to an orthopedic surgeon, and the orthopedic surgeon is going to go, okay, just match my pressure, bring your hands down like this, match my pressure, don't let me pull up, match my pressure, squeeze my fingers as hard as you can, match my pressure, boom. We're doing the same thing. We're testing your reflexes, testing your muscles. People say, well, I don't believe that. Okay, great. Go talk to your orthopedic surgeon. See if he believes it. Hold that right there. Good. So that's a good solid response right there. Now I'm just going to check and see if we can check you. Okay. Not so much. Not so much. You just like, oh. Every time. You. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Now put this hand out. Okay. Now close eyes. So we just want to see if there's something everybody knows. Just see if her body likes that. See that? Now if we take that away, her body comes back online. Let's see if her body might like this one. Everybody know what this is? Can you see that? Okay. Boom. Hold. See if her body likes that. Nope. I don't think so. Look at that. Now if we just get that out of here, her body comes right back. Her body comes right back online. Okay? Let's just see. This may be a yes, maybe a no. Now, some people test for drugs. They're so sick, their body wants drugs sometimes. It's crazy. Unbelievable. Okay, so that took a little longer. Feel that? Mm-hmm. 8, about an 8 count. But if we get rid of that, she comes right back online. So that's not bad. She could use that right now. Wouldn't be bad. This is not bad. Oh, I shouldn't have said that right before I told her. So I'm pulsing a number. Okay, so if I go back to here, see that just goes, it won't stay, it won't lock. What are we doing? We're testing reflexes. We're putting a pulse in to see, does it test for a good solid count? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or does it go dead right away? Right there, feel that? You can do that with supplements, you can do that with sugars, like what we did, or you can do that with drugs. Thank you. Make sense? And she had no idea what any of that was. Her eyes were closed the whole time. So your body knows from the energy contained within certain things whether it wants it or not. How do I know? Walk into a room where 2 people have been getting ready to tear each other's heads off. Did you feel it? Yes, you did. Did you feel it because of something they said? No, it was the energy in the room. You think your body's not smart enough to feel that from the food you eat or the drugs you take? It's crazy. So, nutrition response testing, design clinical nutrition. We just talked about everything we did there was finding nutritional supplements exactly right for a person at any particular time in his or her life. At any particular time in his or her life. They might be getting ready to have a baby. You're planning and you're testing their body to figure out what is your body going to want coming up. How many pregnant people have walked through this place and they've gotten so much better? It's ridiculous. Their first pregnancy was a nightmare. Their second pregnancy was, oh, this is totally different. I had no idea that pregnancy is not a disease. Yeah, absolutely. We changed some lives. So it's kind of similar to design clinical nutrition. What does it mean? It's designed for you, specifically for you. It's clinical. There's clinical significance to it and relevance, and it's nutrition. It can't kill you. Everything we use here is food. You could take whole bottles of it and it won't kill you. You take a whole bottle of aspirin, will it kill you? You'd be calling Poison Control Center immediately. But that's available on the shelves at any store. This is available only at the shelves of healthcare professionals, such as myself, who've been trained to know how to use this stuff. So it's kind of similar to if we made tailor-made black suits for everybody. Well, you'd have a different inseam, you'd have a different waist size, you'd have a different arm length. So it's very, very adaptable to each person, right? It's no magic recipe. Overall health of it is it's considering the overall health of your body. We're not treating symptoms. We're restoring the overall health with 7 things. My hands, light, water, heat, electricity, plants, animals. That's it. I'll say it again. Light, water, heat, electricity, plants, animals, and my hands. That's it. How much of that can hurt you? Very little. But how much of a drug or a surgery can hurt you? You have to decide what you want. It's really up to you. It's not quick. Like we talked about before, it could take several months to make improvements. Safe and natural. We use whole food, plants, and animals. We use homeopathic remedies. We use naturopathic herbal remedies. We use everything that nothing can hurt you. If you took some of the stuff in major amounts, it might make you have wings like Red Bull, but I don't see any problem with that, do you? So there's no side effects. There's no interactions. It's good for infants, babies, moms, breastfeeding people, elderly. The girl I told you about, 12, 13-year-old, she's probably 13 now. She's on a feeding tube. She's nonverbal. She's in a wheelchair. It's safe for her. Mom wanted more stuff today because she said, well, I put the vegetables in the feeding tube and it gets stuck in the little thing, the little inlet into her stomach. She said, can I just buy a supplement that would have kale and Brussels sprouts in it? And I said, yeah, you sure can. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't sell a whole lot of that supplement. But yeah, in your particular situation, that would be the best bet for you, you know? So, and with that in mind, can you get the WellWork survey? Survey. Oh, okay, yeah. So with that in mind, please fill out the post-WellWork survey. We are practically done. And we'll answer any questions that you all may have. Fill out that survey for me, please, 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 please. We are available to speak to your tea parties, your churches, your bowling leagues, your 3rd grade homerooms. Making stuff up. I talked to a 3rd grade homeroom one time. It was great, man. Those kids were attentive. They had questions. It was unbelievable. Yeah, one of the best crowds ever. Yeah, I went to speak for an hour. I was there for like 4. They just kept asking questions. It was great. So we have a mission to inform, church groups, I don't care, sports teams, spoken to, a few sports teams around here. When coach comes in and they get better and they say, I want you to talk to my girls. Great, let's do it. But half of them are nursing majors. Great, let's do it. Will you talk to my daughter if she wants to go to nursing school? Can she come in and intern and shadow with you? Absolutely, let's do it. Love it. Get in here right now. So we have a mission. We want to raise and inform. We want to inform and inform people and raise awareness, just like what we talked about. Biblical, all natural biblical health. We have a vision. We want to influence a lot of people. So, does anyone here have a testimonial that they'd like to share? Anything? Usually we have a little bit of a bigger crowd, but anything? It's okay. We already did like 6 or 8 written ones, but it's always just a nice thing to have a video. Okay, so we've got a wide range of tools to handle anything that walks in this door without putting you on drugs. All you have to do is be willing to make changes. That's it. There are people who walked in here at the very beginning and they weren't sure if they could change their diet. And I said, okay, you don't have to be 100% sure. Give me your breakfast. Let's just change one thing at a time. Let's just change your breakfast. What did I do right there? I changed 33% of their diet with one meal. See, I'm not telling you, you come in here, you start out with us, well, I'm going to this chiropractor, he's pressing on my arm, and you don't take insurance, and he tells me I got to stop eating bread and stop drinking whiskey. No, I don't do that. We might start, you're turning blue. You got to breathe, Danielle, breathe. Deep breath in. So no, you don't do that. We don't do that. We don't tell people right at the very beginning, you have to stop this, stop that, stop this, stop. No, it's not what we do. We just gradual little incremental steps going from, okay, you are drinking right now a 2 liter of Mountain Dew and a bag of spicy nacho Doritos. That is bad. We need to change that. Can we change it and go to a half a 2 liter of Mountain Dew each day? Yeah, we can do that. Half a liter? Yeah. Half a 2 liter? Yeah, we can do that. So see, you make small changes. So fill out the survey. Write out, please, please, please write out the one nugget you learned. Tell us whatever it is that was good. Tell us whatever it was bad. If you hated my hair, if you thought I talked funny, if you can smell me, if I spit on you too many times, tell me so I can do it more next time. And we've got a couple of giveaways here. Any questions? And we're getting, yeah. Oh. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Let's get the audio up here so that the Facebook or the recording so the video can hear you.
With my situation, before I came, if I had a headache, I was told to lose weight. If my big toe hurt, I was told to lose weight. It threw me into an eating disorder where I didn't eat. And I still gained weight. Everything was just going crazy. All my life, I've had the problem. My entire life, I've had these growths that they call tumors. Multiple, like a dozen at a time, and they're extremely painful. We just did my
4 months.
Yes, checkup thing.
Or no. Wait, when did you start?
October?
No, 'cause we went double. No,
Yeah,
it was
you
about
went
6 months.
longer than normal
We did
for me.
double. Yeah, we did double, 6 months. Yep.
And he can tell you I have somewhat become very impatient. I'm not losing weight. They go through and they ask you, where do you feel? Okay, I am still not losing weight. I'm still not losing weight. Dr. Brett, do you realize I'm still not losing weight? And he stopped in one of the sessions and he said, Virginia, it's not time yet. I've got to focus on the infection. It's the first time anybody said anything about that. Because all of a sudden it started connecting me with the tumors and the pain and the sickness, Vicki, the sickness that I would have. And he wasn't focused on my weight. He was focused on the problem, yeah. And that changed everything, I eat more spinach now than I've ever eaten before in my life.
Green is good.
And that's what he keeps telling me every visit. Green is good, Virginia. Eat more green. I'm like, how can I eat more green? But I had no idea. And that's what really changed everything with me. The tumors went from, I still have a few tumors, and he's still working on the immune thing. But
3 or 4 surgeries
I had like
year.
a dozen,
Say
and
that
now at a time, I would go from either having, 6 to a dozen at a time, and I'm now down to 3. And only one of them are really bad. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and what was
Yeah, that's major. You know that. She's known me for years.
3 or 4 surgeries a year, you
Yeah,
said.
I would have to go and have them lanced.
Yeah, and you haven't done
And
since
I
you've
have
been-
not been since
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
here.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
So it's really something to do a full buy-in to it, because it really does. He doesn't do me independently like he did you with doing your hand down. I have to hold onto Hannah's hand or something, and he does it through Hannah. And I remember thinking the few times he did, I thought, this is just crazy.
Sure is.
And
Love it.
but I remember one time he stopped and he was like, Hannah, do you feel that? And I'm thinking, okay, what is she feeling? He says, do you feel what I'm feeling? And she says, yeah, I don't understand it. He looked at me, because some people can look at it and think, you're just pulling this. You're just doing this. And you know, you just want to do chiro on everybody. I haven't even told you this, but you just wanting to do chiro on everybody. You're just wanting to do detox and that kind of thing. He stopped and he goes, and all the time that I have been doing this, all these years, I can't do chiro on you today. And Hannah goes, I've never seen this. And he goes, Virginia, your body can't take it. Your body's telling me no. You can't have chiro today. I don't understand it, but let's just check into it next week. And I knew that day, I thought, there's something really real about this. There's something really real. And it's just been progressively getting better. I know this doesn't mean a lot to you all, and I can't believe I'm going to say it on Facebook, but my skin has always been so tender, you could not touch my legs. I hug very lightly. I let people, you know, I demand how people hug me, that kind of thing. He does laser on my legs now within, the last 2 months maybe? And very seldom do I even flinch. You don't understand. That is amazing. That is amazing, because you could not touch my legs.
Not at all.
And so
Could
I
barely-
just
yeah.
really thought I needed to say that.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you, darling. That takes a lot to say. Yeah, you've been through a lot, and a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of all the stuff that I just erased up there, a lot of misunderstanding. No one ever allowed you to believe that your body could be healthier. It was always lorded over you by some specialist in ivory towers, you know. But it's for everybody. Anybody can do this. A little girl with 13 pediatric specialists, and she's down to like one of them. Did she need them all? No. Did she need all those premiums? No. Did she need all those deductibles and copays and drugs? No. Think about how much more affordable and cost-effective and right and righteous this is. It's the truth, and you've never been allowed to believe it. So, anything else? Any other questions? I'll let us sign off here on Facebook before I get banned and censored. They can ban us and censor us. That's okay. We did all this with no sign in the middle of nowhere. Where I moved here, I didn't know a soul. Didn't have my family. Didn't have my cousins and aunts and uncles to rely on. Didn't have a sign. Didn't have an office. Nothing. So Facebook, Google, love you, but we don't need you. YouTube too. All right. Anyway, anything else? And then we're going to give away some good stuff. Anything else? Thank you, Virginia. That was a beautiful testimony. I appreciate that. And when we get you, we're going to put that little cart. We're going to put that. I'm going to be there the day on eBay when we sell it and cart it off to somebody else. I can't wait for that. And you guys, yeah, y'all, you're just getting started. But all right, we're gonna say goodbye. But thank you all. This is Dr. Brett Spradlin, Divine Design Natural Health, and we are coming back. Don't forget, in 2 weeks on May 20th, free Well Works event. May 20th, 6 o'clock. The proof is in the poke, life is in the blood, and I'm gonna preach thunder on this. Thunder. Do you understand? Because there's a lot of stuff going on with this stuff that you need to know about. If you got kids, if you got family members, if you got loved ones, if you got enemies, I don't care. Bring them, because this right here is stuff you need to know about. We are going to preach thunder and fire. Do you understand? So I'm just putting it out there. And that's it. So thank you. May 20th, Facebook, social media, Google, YouTube, all you guys, thank you. And we will see you May 20th. Yeehaw. And
Father, you are good. Your mercies never end. You know me more than anyone. You're my closest friend. Search my heart, oh God. Read my every thought. See if I've seen the devil